Alrighty guys, so in this video we'll be talking about tasking, aka thrust, which is an extraordinarily powerful card that basically if your opponent activates a hand trap or any kind of monster effect, they get absolutely smacked. I will be talking about them very quickly, simply because I could cover each one of these cards in their own video themselves, because tasking, being able to grab them, basically makes all of them searchable, and if they're activating monster effects, which are the main resource of the game, and it's going to happen no matter what you're doing, you're just going to have this chase secret that's going to be $120. Shout out to Konami for that. But definitely you're going to have to pick this card up if you want to contend. I'm just keeping it real with you. But anyways, talents obviously being one of the most powerful normal spell cards you can grab. Dark Ruler evenly is probably going to be the most powerful thing that you can grab off of dealing with Kashtira. I love Kashtira, but it doesn't put up negates, so evenly matched will be absolutely ignorant. And additionally, having an imperm for a deck that may have one negate or no negates, imperm is going to be absolutely valuable. Maybe hitting a mind hacker most of the time is going to be where you want to do that. But obviously, moving on, we got Dark Ruler, we got a pointer, which goes so well with a Rise Heart because it can just attach what you steal. Attach what you snatch. It's pretty good. The Phantom's Knights of Shade Brigadine is obviously very powerful as well, being able to grab a floating body out of the deck very quickly. But it's kind of weird, it's kind of cute. You kind of gotta work out with it. Obviously, Sky Striker will be a thing. You got Signet Mining and all the Cyburst decks, maybe Marin Cess, they're going to hit you with a hand trap, and then you can punish them with whatever you want to grab. Chaos Space, Fusion Destiny, don't know how relevant that'll be. Enforcer is powerful, but it won't be landing in the graveyard, so there's that. That is an option, though. You obviously have the branded fusion type stuff as well. Didn't I don't think I put it in here, but anyways, Red Eyes Fusion to move on. Just to have Dragoon, it's still, people forget about how powerful the card is until they have to deal with it. So always be aware of that. Terraforming, Rhoda, Instant Fusion is going to be nuts because it can also grab, it's basically a level 7 body as well because of Kashtira. The adventure package is very smooth to jump into. Gold Sark, if you're playing a specific deck. Labyrinth is an underrated trap deck. I actually think it's the best trap deck right now. Foolish, both of them. 1-for-1 is very, very powerful in any deck that you play. And it was always like, well, I'm not going to open it. Well, now you can if they try to stop anything that you do. So there's that. Card of Demise, also very powerful card of soul. Elder Elixir is, Eldritch isn't going to be relevant because there's no graveyard this format, so there's that. But Elder Elixir is still an extremely powerful card that over time this is going to probably come back into the game because Eldritch will come back at some point. It's just too powerful not to. Obviously, you got Kaiju Slumber, which I think is absolutely nutty, and there is a Kashtira version that we will be covering, and it is I think it's the best deck. I actually think it's the best deck. Although Kashtira is not the best deck, the way that it can deal with what your opponent does. I was disagreeing with, shout out to Captain Headass on the team, Michael Buckingham. But me and him talked very, very intently about this. I really think that deck is actually the best deck because it reminds me of Zukaiju, and Zukaiju was the best deck when Zoo came out. So there's that. Lightning Storm, Mind Control, and Change Your Heart, all obviously very powerful cards. But the trap cards are what I wanted to talk about, and that's simply because Eradicator, just being able to jump directly into that. If your deck can open up something smooth that has a 2500 body, maybe I'm thinking Thunder Dragon randomly, for instance, because we'll be covering it very soon. Shout out to Matt. I definitely feel like Eradicator being able to tribute off of the tasking, which I was going to tell him anyway, which he should catch if he watches this video. I just think that's just absolutely ignorant. To be able to just grab Virus and then flip it on whatever deck that you're worried about that may absolutely lean on spells or traps. Obviously, you have deck dev for the weenie decks like Fluandary, shout out to them. And then Full Force Virus. And then Grinning Grave Virus also is something I had to mention. And then just some additional cards that are they're already relevant, or you always see them at random tournaments. You'll always see a Feather Storm in somebody's deck as a cheap shot in random scenarios. There's just so much to cover. There's so many engines. I could talk about specific engines, specific decks. Just make sure that you're aware of all of them, guys. That's all that I can really say. I wanted to mention Trap Tricks before I get out of here. That Trap Tricks, basically whatever you would set, the Mantis can actually pop back into your hand. So do with that what you will. I don't know how crazy that'll be, but it may add to a combo if there's a Sarah on the, there's just stuff that may be able to happen. You may want to check it out. You may want to try it out. It's just up to you. The rest of this, guys, is just cards, but I did want to end with it does trigger Tzolk'in because of how it activates. It directly sets the card, which actually triggers Tzolk'in. If I'm incorrect, correct me down in the comments. I think that's absolutely nutty. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Let me know what you guys think about Thrust in the comments, and I'll see you next time. Stay tuned. Pegasus out. Arrivederci.